So to begin with the distributor locked out and the power locked out, we're going to remove the cover and take the sensors out and then reinstall them. You need a Phillips screwdriver to remove the screws that hold the cover on. And like I said, this on a regular distributor in use, this will be upside down. Inside the box, there's a terminal strip that the sensor wires tie to. The other side of the terminal board will have wires that run down to the control panel. The sensor bracket is held in with a 3/8 carriage bolt, so the 9/16 wrench works to loosen that bolt up. When you remove this bolt, there's normally a shim that spaces the bracket out to center up on the code, a little horseshoe shim. In some cases you may have no shims, in some cases you might have two thinner shims. The purpose of the shims is to center the sensor block on the code wheel. The sensor block is roughly 2 inches square. The two sensors are picking up slots in the code wheel that are roughly 1.5 inches long. So on a normal distributor in use, this sensor block will leave a little wear mark on the code wheel, and it's important to have that wear mark show up about 1/4 inch outside both ends of the slot of the code. On all the distributors, there's two sensors. The number 1 sensor is always the one closest to the pivot point of the distributor, no matter what model it is. We have sensor 1 located closest to the pivot point, and sensor 2 is the one farthest away from the pivot point. One of the things that it's best to check or to set when you're putting in a new set of sensors or a new sensor block will be the end of the sensors need to be set 1/4 turn back from flush. And so to set them, carefully use a pair of needle nose pliers or a vice grip to confirm that usually it's best to run them out flush and then to back them back into the sensor block 1/4 turn, and then the lock nuts will get locked down. The proper amount of spring pressure that we talk about is translated to the distance between the top of the bracket and the bottom of the head of the shoulder bolt, and we like that to be at 1/4 inch. So in installing the sensors, we know that this one requires a 10 gauge shim to space it out to center it up on the code. Just finger tighten the nut on the carriage bolt, and then it's possible to push down on the bracket and load the springs to your approximate 1/4 inch shoulder reveal on the shoulder bolts, and carefully tighten the nut. And once that nut's tightened, it's good to check and make sure that the sensor block went down onto the code wheel square or flat, so that it's not tipped when you tighten the nut. If it's tipped, it could cause problems later. Reinstall any covers. and it's ready to power up and do a test run.